Coming up on No Pulp, a shootout down in Oxford, potential game of the year thus far between the Tigers and the Rebels.
And also, I square off against Luke Burgess in the Juicer. Luke actually told me a few minutes ago that he looks forward to coming in second place today.
Wow, plus, we'll be giving our top 5 lists for Heisman hopefuls and upsets of the year. It's No Pulp, and it starts right now.
Kansas State has been on fire this year.
Missouri is one of the most fraudulent teams in college basketball.
And it was proved
They're not going to fire him. He's the best player in program history.
Side to Lawrence for the win! Yes! He got it!
She is the Shohei Ohtani of college softball.
This is a team that's potentially going to be a top 10 team in the country.
How you feeling?
I'm excited to win the Juicer.
LSU has captured its very first national championship.
Hey, and welcome into the CitrusTV studios. Austin Barach and Caleb Nice with you. Green Day, it's time to wake up. September ends and No Pulp returns for October, and at a really good time, Austin.
That's right, Caleb. I was watching the game on Saturday. I was in a food coma, going to bed. It was a great time.
Well, the first game we have to lead off with is a game that racked up 104 total points. I'm talking about the barn burner down south that was Ole Miss and LSU. In the end, the Rebels got it done 55-49. Austin, game of the year so far?
Has to be, Caleb. Has to be. This game was so much fun to watch. The points galore. The defenses were laughably bad. I mean, bad angles, horrible tackling. I was watching this game thinking it was that impractical jokers, excuse me, that's like, now just don't play any defense at all. Have even worse defense. Don't tackle at all. I mean, it was 49-40, and Bob Wischusen was like, they're going to score more touchdowns, and that's exactly what happened. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had this game was a little bit like Lane Kiffin's new hairstyle, a little bit messy, a little bit all over the place. My main takeaway was also the same as yours, was how poor these defenses performed, specifically LSU, just with all the hype and what they pulled in from the portal and how they recruited, it was a letdown. Ole Miss had 400 yards of offense in that first half. LSU was able to keep up, but that defense was just holding it back, like you mentioned.
I mean, LSU has so many names. They have such great recruits, so much talent, but they couldn't stop Jackson Dart at all, who I think is a good quarterback. I followed him for a couple years. Great moxie, great hair, great name. But look, he's not a great quarterback. He made a mistake where he had the defender bat down the ball. It could have been like a 30, 40-yard gain. He's a good quarterback. He's not going to have to buy a drink in Oxford, Mississippi in 20 years. But he's just a guy who's just a really good quarterback that will never be great.
I mean, he's just streaky. He has to find that consistency. This, in my mind, was the performance of a lifetime. You talk about a guy who left USC because Caleb Williams was in front of him. He comes here and kind of proves in this game that he can do it too, like Caleb Williams lights up an offense. I also don't know if I have him at the top of my quarterbacks list, but I think he definitely showed flashes of what he could be in this one.
And I think another part of why this game was so fun is that RG3 was just making outrageous color commentary stuff. It was awesome to see. Another game that was going on simultaneously was Notre Dame and Duke down in Durham. Caleb, I mean, you're a big Sam Hartman guy. With the game on the line, I mean, first of all, the fact that Notre Dame was up a lot, 13-0, Duke's offense was stifled, like couldn't do anything, and then Hartman had to be the hero put on the cape. It was great to see.
The guts on that run, 4th and 16 to take off like he did and just go for that first down, hurling himself into a pile of Duke defenders, to me, is what was one of the key moments of this game. Then Audric Estime finishing it off. But it was a gritty, it was an ugly win. I expected Notre Dame to roll into Durham and kind of just blow the boots off of Duke. And we didn't see that. In the trenches, I thought Notre Dame would dominate. But Duke really gave Notre Dame a hard time in the run, where Audric Estime has just been dominant these past couple of games.
You're right. I thought Notre Dame would roll in there after the heartbreaking loss to Ohio State at home and play with a vengeance. And yeah, they started off well, but they kind of teetered off. It was 13-0 for what felt like the longest time. And to have a guy like Riley Leonard hang around with that kind of score, only a 2-possession game, he did what he had to do to make it interesting. I thought Notre Dame would put it away. They didn't. But the fact that they have that resolve, the fact that Sam Hartman exemplifies everything you want out of a Notre Dame quarterback, toughness, leadership, heart, these are great factors when you think about Notre Dame, the best Notre Dame he has that.
But do you think they still have a shot at the CFP?
No, absolutely
What?
not, Caleb.
Of course
they
they
lost
do.
already to Ohio State, who, spoiler, will not win the Big Ten.
So they lost to a top 10 team. They got Ohio State. They just beat a ranked opponent on the road in Duke. This week they have another ranked opponent in Louisville on the road. Then after that, USC. They finished the year with Clemson towards the end of their slate. That's 4 ranked opponents in a row. If you take 3 of those and go 11-1
they won't.
with the loss to a top 10 team at the time at Ohio State, I think you have a case for the playoff. It's going to take a little bit of luck, Austin.
Luck of the Irish.
A little bit of luck of the Irish, but they definitely have a shot at the CFP. If you just, all you can do is just keep winning. That's all you can ask for. Well, earlier on Saturday, even earlier in Boulder, a 10 a.m. kickoff out there.
Oh.
What are we talking about? For USC Colorado, the Buffaloes defense must have hit snooze to start the game. While they were napping, the Trojans put up 34 points in the first half. But Austin, it was a wild finish after that. USC only taking it by 7.
Yeah, it was a really interesting game. Tale of 2 halves. USC came out, guns a-blazing, right? Caleb Williams highlight play after highlight play, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, is this the end of Colorado's magical run here after getting blasted by Oregon the week before in Austin? I mean, to go back home, still no Travis Hunter, and to just put up a stinker in the first half, but then to come all the way back, it makes me still believe in this Colorado team this season long term.
I'm taking a look at that USC defense, similar to that
it's
Notre
bad.
Dame Duke game. I thought USC would bury Colorado. For a half, they did. Yeah, Caleb Williams, just with how dominant he's been so far this season. But coming into this season, the defense for USC was the Achilles heel. Alex Grinch, the DC there, was confident this season between the portal and recruiting. But to be honest, I don't know if this Trojans defense is any better than last year. 31 second half points for the Buffs. And I'm going to say this, that Caleb Williams is the best player that USC has on defense. He is their defense.
Wow.
You expect him to go out. Caleb, can you go out and put 48 up today? That's your defense. Expecting him to be what's going to go up against the offense, that is not going to last. You got Washington coming up. Michael Penix can put up points too.
Yeah.
That USC defense was a huge weakness in this one.
And 2 of the guys who stepped up against that USC defense for Colorado, learn the names, Jimmy Horn and Amarian Miller. The announcer said that a star was born when talking about Miller. He had a couple touchdowns, huge game, well over 100 yards. So no Travis Hunter. Still get to know the names if you're a fan of college football. But moving on from the Pac-12 to the SEC, Caleb. Kentucky and Florida, UF after a big win over Tennessee at the Swamp travels up to Lexington, and they did not do well. I mean, first quarter, they got thumped right from the get-go. To me, this is a classic case of a good SEC team losing to a good SEC team after beating another good SEC team the previous week. If that made sense, I don't know. But if after a win against Tennessee, this was a classic letdown spot, in my opinion, for the Gators.
And it wasn't that they lost for the Gators for me, it was how they lost.
Yeah.
And look, you can't put lipstick on a pig. It's still going to be ugly. You allow 280 yards to Kentucky's running back, Ray Davis. Devin Leary had under 70 yards through the air.
69.
When you allow 280 yards to a running back, that is so bad. Like, it's even hard to explain, especially for a caliber that Billy Napier expects his team to perform. For Florida, like I said, it was just how they lost the game. They only had 2.4 yards per carry. It was bully ball, opposite of what Florida normally expects.
Yeah, they got punked up front right from the get-go. That can't happen. I mean, you mentioned the day of Ray Davis. And on the other side, Graham Mertz, we liked what we saw of him in flashes all the way back at Wisconsin in 2020. But he's just not the guy for true road games. He can win at home in the Swamp, but when he goes on the road, it just falls apart.
Yeah. Well, Kentucky has Georgia this weekend. It's going to be interesting to see if Kentucky can maybe pull off the upset. After the break, we have a special edition of The Juicer. It's September Pulpies time. Luke Burgess and Austin Barach will be giving out the September accolades. Only one can leave as the winner. We're right back after this.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Oh!
Welcome back to No Pulp. New location now and a new face. Luke Burgess joins us in the juicer, my two favorite Ken dolls. But we're not playing for Oscar. It's the September Pulpies time. Guys, only one blonde can win.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be me.
I don't know about that. I think I might have something to say.
All right. Well, we've talked a lot about teams that have been finding success, but we can't forget about the guys behind the curtain, the head coaches. So, Luke, I'll come to you first. Who was your top coach in September?
I'm going to go with Texas's Steve Sarkisian. And one of the things you look at as a head coach is improvement from year to year. So far, Steve Sarkisian, 3 years at Texas, he's improved every single season. 5-7 that first year, 8-5, and he's off to a 5-0 start in his third season as the coach of the Longhorns. And they're off to a great start as well. I mean, they look like a phenomenal team thus far into the year. They've got good offense, good defense. May I say one of the best teams in the country? I don't know for sure, but definitely a team to watch out for, and he certainly has a big role to play in that. He's turned this program around. There's always a lot of hype surrounding the Longhorns coming into the season, and so far I think they've lived up to that hype quite considerably.
Sark's been really good, but a guy who I think has done an even better job, Luke, is all the way out of Oregon, and that's Dan Lanning. This is a guy who's got the absolute most out of his team thus far, an elite motivator, but he's also not corny in how he does it. Let me run through the slate of games that he's done so far. Week 1, they're a 48-point favorite. They win by 74. Week 2, a 4.5-point favorite in a true road game at Texas Tech, win by 8. Week 3, a 38.5-point favorite. They win by 45. Week 4, you're thinking, okay, Colorado's coming to town. Big game, Dion. Let's motivate the guys. We all know the clips that went around. And they win by 36 points, and it could have been more, quite frankly. Week 5, classic letdown spot at Stanford. Yes, it was a slow start, but they pull away 42 unanswered points for Oregon. He has this team really in a really good spot right now. Before the season, they were maybe a frisky Pac-12 team. Now they are a legitimate national contender.
What's one of the things you look at with coaching? Penalties. Well, Texas is top 15 least penalized teams in the country.
Oh, wow.
Oregon is bottom 10 in the entire.
I hear you guys. I'm going to side with Luke on this one. Sark and the Longhorns have been unbelievable. They topped Alabama on the road, and then they beat a ranked Kansas team this past weekend. Oregon took down Colorado, a team I don't think is too great, and they barely snuck past Texas Tech. Luke takes the first one, 1-0. Austin still looking to get on the board. Maybe this is your time. We move to under center now. Who brings home the September Pulpy for the best player of the month? Who gets the September Heisman?
It's easily Caleb Williams. Caleb. I mean, honestly, if I don't win this one, I'm just going to have to walk off the show. I mean, Caleb Williams, he entered this year as by far the best player in the country. And newsflash, he still is by far the best player in the country. He is a highlight waiting to happen. Look at these stats on the board. 1,600 yards, 21 touchdowns to just 1 interception. Are you kidding me? Nearly 75% completion percentage. You know, there is nothing that he can't do. He is basically Patrick Mahomes in college. He is unreal.
I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction here. I'm going upstate, still in the Pac-12.
A worse direction?
To Washington.
Okay.
I'm going with Michael Penix Jr. And you talk about, you got to put the ball in the end zone, make good throws. Your receivers got to catch them. Well, he just throws the ball all over the field. Over 2,000 passing yards so far this year, 400 yards per game. More than that, he's averaging so far this year. And he's led his team to a 30-point performance every single time he's been out there. He is just an electric factory. Best player in college football, best player in September.
Caleb Williams does 40-point performances every week.
I don't think that's true. You can look at the stats. Go back and look at the schedule.
Metrics
He doesn't have, and that USC defense, they can't bail him out forever. That's a big part. It's not just about the guy under center. You got to consider the entire team. He's the leader of that team.
Caleb Williams actually has to play defense?
I've already made my decision. Look, the last time a left-handed quarterback won the Heisman was 2007. Tim Tebow. Maybe it'll happen in December with Michael Penix, but here on October 2nd, it's a right-handed quarterback. Caleb Williams has been the best player in September so far. Austin ties it up at 1 apiece. We take a step out. Let's take a broader look and see who has been the top team so far this season. AB, coming to you first this time.
Yeah, so it's actually Texas for me, this one. So just copy and paste everything that Luke said about Sark and apply it here. I mean, you got to work smarter, not harder sometimes. But the thing with Sark is he doesn't actually play on the field. Texas has tremendous talent, NFL talent. Quinn Ewers, an elite pocket passer quarterback. Jonathan Brooks, on 86 rush attempts, he averages nearly 7 yards a pop. Xavier Worthy, a big-time receiver on the outside. You got Jatavion Sanders at tight end. He is a legitimate first-round talent. The offensive line is nasty. You see how they manhandled Alabama in that game. And the defense has dudes as well. Jalen Ford and Byron Murphy, to name a couple. This is a team that is loaded on both sides.
What number is Texas in the CFB rankings? Number 3. So there's 2 numbers.
Well, the AP poll 3, yeah.
2 numbers ahead of that.
Sure.
And there is a team that is number 1 in defense in the country. That's Penn State. They have an elite defense
Where
so far
are they in
this
the AP
year.
poll?
They're up in the top 10.
Okay.
I think
Are
they're
they
doing
three?
pretty. I think they're doing pretty well for themselves. They haven't played the competition that they need to yet,
okay.
and they have an elite quarterback under center as well, who's handling the pressure as well as you possibly can. Drew Aller in the whiteout game, probably the most pressure-packed game in all of college football. He goes and throws 4 touchdowns, leads his Nittany Lions to a 31-0 win against a ranked Iowa team, and then go over to the defensive side of the ball, as we talked about. Number 1 in yards allowed per game. The next team, 35 yards less per game. Michigan in the conference of defenses in the Big Ten. Okay. As well as that, defense wins championships. You ever heard that one before?
I have.
That's where Penn State is headed at the moment. Best team in September.
Well, here in the Juicer, plagiarizing is allowed. I can't give you the point for Steve Sarkisian and then not give him the point for Texas. Texas has been getting it done. I mentioned beating Bama and Kansas. Penn State hasn't really played anyone yet. The Pulpy is a prestigious award, and being tied with Northwestern at the half does not get you a Pulpy, Luke Burgess. 2-1, Austin Barach with the lead. Last question now. It is worth 2 points, so still anyone's game. Luke, you have a shot. I will give you the chance to go first and jump ahead. We had 30 days to fill with some memorable moments, but only one can take the spotlight as the best college football moment in all of September.
Well, if I asked you over the past 5 years, maybe who's the biggest juggernaut in college football, likely you're going to say Alabama.
Okay.
Alabama goes down. We're bringing the Longhorns back into
More
the picture.
Texas.
Reel them in, lasso
really
time. We're talking about Alabama losing to Texas early in the season, and that's, Nick Saban, the juggernaut of college football, juggernaut coach, the one everyone fears. He's the guy everyone wants to take down. Well, Texas took him down early in the season, and Alabama, they're not at the top of the dog pile anymore. They don't have a quarterback, and Texas...
Okay, so how could it be such a big moment if they weren't good?
Texas proves that they're now the top dog in that conference.
Okay.
They prove their dominance. They reassert, and it's a shift, in a seismic shift, let's say, in the college football space. Texas moving on top of Alabama, showing that Nick Saban is no longer that guy.
Wow. Well, I tell you who is the guy. Guys, it is Missouri kicker Harrison Mevis. Week 3 against Kansas State. This dude at 5'11", 243, hit the 61-yard game winner. That is the longest field goal in SEC history. He runs around the stadium. Everybody mobs him. I mean, in the second quarter of this game, he missed from 53. In the first game of the season, he went 0 for 2. Guts of steel. Talk about the mental fortitude of that guy. When he was in Indiana, Warsaw, Indiana, might add, great name. He won the Burger King Most Outstanding Athlete. This is a dude we're talking about right here. 5'11", 243. What a moment to upset Kansas State and keep the undefeated season alive.
It's one player versus a whole team, and a whole 60 minutes versus one play.
Oh, come on.
It's the best moment, though, Austin. You missed a critical part of the Harrison Mevis field goal. That was that Harrison Mevis actually missed the game-winning field goal last year against Auburn, a 26-yard chip shot that would have won the game.
So he came back
for
mental
Mizzou.
fortitude.
Yep, redemption year. The reason I bring this up, Luke, you are the next Harrison Mevis. I say that because you're missing the field goal this year, but next year might be your year. Austin takes the best moment. 2 points, 4-1. Austin wins a legendary Mizzou moment to knock off ranked Kansas State. I had you, and you're back. You'll be back next year. You're Harrison Mevis, like I said. That's a wrap on the Juicer. Another break now, but when we come back, sportsmanship. We'll be giving out our top Heisman picks and reliving the best upsets from the season. A trip down memory lane. No Pulp back after this.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfire. 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse,
Yes.
you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Hey, welcome back into No Pulp. He's Caleb Nice. I'm Austin Barach. Feeling good after that juicer victory. Thank you, Caleb.
Good for you, yeah.
And we're still at the wall, and we're doing a little top 5 frenzy right now. Caleb will go first with his top 5 Heisman candidates of the season, and then I will give out the top 5 upsets of the season so far. So, Caleb, let's get right into it.
Here we go. At my 5th pick, which number 1 is going to be our top pick for Heisman, in the era of the quarterback, there's one salmon who swims upstream. That's tight end Brock Bowers coming in at the 5th spot. We got to give him respect. In the history of the Heisman Trophy, only 2 tight ends have won the award. It's now been over 70 years since the last one. If you don't think Brock Bowers has a shot, you haven't been watching enough college football this year. He's been getting it done against Auburn, a game we talked about earlier. Brock Bowers had the touchdown that ended up winning the game for Georgia. He's been legit. 8 catches for 157 yards in that game. This season, 453 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 national championships. It's time to acknowledge him as the key piece that he's been.
He's been really good. Your number 4?
Number 4, we're going with my guy, Sam Heisman. Sam Hartman, for those who don't know him, quarterback at Notre Dame. 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions so far. And I like to talk about his guts. He came up short on 4th and 1 twice against Ohio State. To go for it on 4th and 16, take off with it, that's a Heisman moment that for me sneaks him in to my 4th spot. At number 3, I'm going to go with Quinn Ewers. I was between him and Bo Nix, but Quinn Ewers has been getting it done. He's had a couple of Heisman moments. He's playing for a team that's top 5 and undefeated, but to go in, knock off Alabama. He threw for 325 yards and a touchdown against Kansas. That's another big stage. Big stages lead to Heisman moments. Yeah. And he's got a big stage this weekend against Oklahoma to do another massive offensive performance.
Yeah, he's been awesome. And another guy who could be your number 2 guy would be who?
Michael Penix Jr. Look, we just talked about him in the juicer. Luke Burgess giving the praise. I mentioned the left-handed quarterback hasn't won since Tebow. Penix Jr. actually making a serious push. I actually had Penix as my favorite before Caleb Williams' outstanding performance against Colorado this past weekend. Michael Penix also part of an undefeated squad, making a ridiculous throw. Really nice touch on that long ball.
So your number 1, I mean, it has to be Mr. Caleb Williams.
It is Caleb Williams. Great name. Caleb's are getting it done everywhere. You see me, you see Caleb Williams in a strong position to become the first player to win back-to-back Heismans since Archie Griffin. Caleb Williams has just been ridiculous. I feel like every weekend you see a highlight play that he's getting it done. That puts him at a number 1 spot.
This is a fantastic list right here.
Thanks,
Can't
Andy.
go wrong with this. As for my top 5 frenzy, the top 5 upsets of the season. At number 5, week 1, Northern Illinois over Boston College and Chestnut Hill. They were an 8-point dog. A dude named Rocky Lombardi scored the game-winning touchdown in overtime of this one. But the best part about this is that since week 1, Northern Illinois has not won a single game. They've been 0-4. They've faced some really bad teams, so that's what makes week 1 all that more special. At number 4, I got Duke over Clemson, another week 1 matchup. It's not a super big upset because, again, it's week 1. Clemson can be vulnerable in these situations, but 56 4 or 5-star recruits to Duke's just 2. That's an upset all day. Number 3, an upset, Ryan Day being upset at Lou Holtz. A little play on words, Caleb, right there. Why are you so angry at an 86-year-old man? I know he's an AP voter. I know that he's a former Notre Dame head coach. But come on, Ryan. You just won a big game. Just be happy and move on. At number 2, I got Bowling Green over Georgia Tech. This happened just last week at Georgia Tech. And I mean, this was a 21 to 22.5 point spread. The Yellow Jackets head coach after the game said this was an embarrassing display of football, as an epic of a failure as you can possibly have. In fact, they demoted their defensive coordinator after this.
I saw Georgia Tech also paid Bowling Green $1.1 million to come. We paid Luke Burgess $1.2 million, but he couldn't pull off the upset.
That's unbelievable right there. We actually did. It would be higher, but nobody really cares about Georgia Tech. Go back to the triple option, Yellow Jackets. It's at number 1, Colorado over TCU. I mean, this captured the zeitgeist of the nation. This is what everybody was talking about. 3-touchdown underdog, Coach Prime Dion, what's he going to be like? And they roll into TCU, the reigning national runners-up, and they get it done. I mean, everybody was talking about this. This was an elite game right there. Anything wrong with this list, Caleb?
Looks good to me.
All right, we had a lot of fun right here. Caleb Williams and Colorado over TCU, Pac-12 getting some love. But this has been the end of our top 5 stuff. When we come back, we got plays of the week, and our final word. We'll be right back.
Sorry, Luke, I had to.
With the groove, show proof, keep it smooth as I bust the move. Ayo, step it swiftly with me, keep up. If not, just stop, pop a squat, put your feet up, read up, pay attention, listen to the melody. Remember what you heard, got my words to the spell of me. Top notch, got them all jumping like hopscotch, jumping rope like double dutch in the air. Show me what you got, keep it hot like the heater. You thinking you a treat, cause you're sweet, but I'm sweeter. Leader of the pack, cause they all stay behind me. I'm old school, you don't skip tracks, you rewind me. Find me, working on my craft.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Welcome back into the CitrusTV studios. We're still here without any Pulp, Austin Barach, Caleb Nice. It's about that time to share our top plays of the week. For mine, we head down to Orlando. I'll set the scene. UCF up 35-10 against Baylor. The Bears scored 26 unanswered in the 4th, setting up a final chance for the Knights. 4th down, and quarterback Timmy McClain did something unbelievable. Now, along with potentially the best play this season, it might be the best call this season. Take a listen.
They're coming after it. McClain! Running out of time! What do you got?
Come on, Ben.
McClain! He's still on his feet! Oh my goodness! It's caught! Unbelievable! The game continues!
For my play of the week, we go out to Idaho and Eastern Washington. This is a red field. This is a play you gotta see to believe. I scoured the entire internet to find this play. It was a really cool play. Running back Anthony Woods for Idaho. You'll see this play coming up. He was already working on a monster day. He goes, whoop, see ya, a casual stiff arm. That is so emasculating right there. It's like a 5-year-old son trying to tackle his dad in the backyard. You don't even see him. Just a little whoop, the disrespect right there. That was his 5th touchdown. Idaho takes it by a score of 44-36. Woods had 183 yards on the day.
Our final words now. As we mentioned, it was not a great night for defense in Mississippi on Saturday. 104 total points. But who would have thought that the lack of defense would extend to the post-game festivities, as security at Vaught Hemingway Stadium was incapable of stopping Rebel fans from storming the field. As you can see, this poor guy was letting everyone get past him. He had no help.
Oh,
this
boy.
is like 6 or 7 sacks up until here, where he decks this girl. She catches a flying elbow, falls to the turf. Look, it was wrong. At this point, just let it go. I mean, you got to pick your battles. But she also did run into the only, and I mean only, tree in the forest. Still, that hit was more impressive than either defense on Saturday night. LSU might want to see if he's got any eligibility left, because the Tigers certainly need some help on defense. Get him a pad. Get him some helmets and a pad, Coach Kelly.
Tom Haverford from the TV show Parks and Rec once infamously said, quote, "I have never taken the high road, but I tell other people to, because then there's more room for me on the low road." Clever line, but in real life, that philosophy kind of sucks. On September 16th, Colorado State defensive back Henry Blackburn laid out Colorado two-way star Travis Hunter. Hunter suffered a lacerated liver because of the hit and hasn't played since. Blackburn received many personal threats in the subsequent days, but Hunter made it clear that he has no hate for the Rams' safety. Last week, the Buff star connected with Blackburn in Boulder for a YouTube video where the two hashed things out in person and just hung out. Take a look.
How much time do we have left?
It's football at the end of the day. That you're expecting something to bad happen on the football field. Yeah. You're going out there to run into each other 1,000 times a day or a game. So something bad is going to happen. That's how I look at it. When it happened, I'm like, it's not his fault. It's football.
Yeah. This story serves another reminder that life's too short to hold grudges.
So two guys coming together, but we're going to go apart here on Citrus TV. No Pulp saying so long, Caleb Nice and Austin Barach.